Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom, but how many of us are truly willing to face what lies beneath the surface? The world rewards noise and every second drags you outward, pulling you toward distraction, comparison, and decay. How many times have you found yourself reaching for your phone not because you needed it but because silence was too uncomfortable? It burns, doesn't it? The thought of being still, of being with yourself without the constant hum of external validation, can feel like an unbearable weight. Most people have lost the ability to sit in silence without breaking. Their minds are wired to react, to feed off the world's chaos, never to rule it. But what if I told you that the real power is in your ability to detach from the noise, to regain control over your own mind and actions, just like the Stoics taught? Imagine for a moment a life where you are no longer dragged by every whim of the world, but instead you stand firm, calm, centered, and unshaken. If you're tired of being at the mercy of distractions and want to reclaim your focus, this is your chance. Also consider subscribing. It's about taking the first step toward a life where you govern your own mind and actions, not the noise around you. The world is filled with noise, opinions, judgments, expectations. Every day we are bombarded with messages that tell us how we should look, how we should act, and who we should be. It's exhausting, yet it's so easy to fall into the trap of trying to please others. We chase validation, hoping that if we can just meet their expectations, we'll finally feel at peace. But what if the very act of seeking approval is the thing that's holding you back? What if in trying to gain the acceptance of others you've been rejecting yourself? The truth is, rejection isn't about pushing people away, it's about rejecting the noise, the distractions, the superficial judgments, and the opinions that cloud your ability to focus on your own path. Every time you give in to the need for validation, you're stepping further away from the growth and direction that truly matter. This isn't easy to hear because we've been conditioned to think that approval equals success. But deep down you know that it's not about following the crowd. It's about defining your own path. It's only when you reject the external pressures and focus on your own direction that true growth can begin. The moment you realize that your self-worth isn't dependent on the opinions of others is the moment you take back control over your life. The real struggle is learning to focus on your own growth without being distracted by the pull of external validation. The world teaches us that the more we do for others, the more we are valued, but the more you give of yourself to others' expectations, the more you lose yourself. Every moment spent chasing approval is a moment taken away from nurturing your own potential. The Stoics understood this well. True power lies in knowing where to focus your attention. It's not about seeking external rewards or recognition, it's about mastering your inner world. When you stop chasing approval and start rejecting the noise, you unlock a deeper level of freedom. This freedom isn't about escaping the world, it's about becoming untouchable by its judgments. It's about building an unshakable foundation within yourself, one that doesn't crumble when the opinions of others shift. The power to reject the noise is the power to live on your own terms, and once you've experienced that power, nothing can pull you back into the chaos. But how do you learn to reject the noise? It starts with awareness. Recognize the moments when you're seeking external validation. Notice the times when you're tempted to please others at the expense of your own peace. This doesn't mean you have to cut off relationships or stop caring about others. It means you need to start caring about your own path first. You must develop the strength to say no to what doesn't align with your true self. That's not an easy task. It requires self-discipline and the willingness to endure discomfort. The Stoics believed that discomfort was a tool for growth, a way to build resilience and clarity. When you stop reacting to the world's demands and start making decisions based on your own principles, you begin to sharpen your focus. This is where true strength lies, not in controlling others but in controlling yourself. Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This rings especially true when it comes to the fear of rejection. We fear what others might think of us, but most of this fear exists only in our minds. When we choose to let go of that fear and focus on what truly matters, we free ourselves from the constant battle for approval. The more you let go of the fear of rejection, the more you can embrace your own path with clarity and confidence. As you begin to focus on your own growth, you'll notice something remarkable happening. You start to feel more grounded, more centered, and more powerful. Your decisions become more aligned with your true values, and the world around you start to reflect this newfound strength. When you reject the noise, you create space for your own voice to emerge. The more you cultivate this self-direction, the less you need to be distracted by the opinions of others. It's not that you stop caring about people, it's that you stop letting their opinions control you. This process of rejection is not about shutting yourself off from the world, it's about creating healthy boundaries. It's about rejecting the things that don't serve you and embracing the things that help you grow. The world will always try to pull you in 1,000 directions, but you have the ability to choose your direction. When you reject the distractions and stay focused on your own path, you create a life that is rich with purpose and meaning. You don't need validation to know that you're on the right track. Your growth speaks for itself. In the end, it's about reclaiming control over your own mind and life. The more you reject the noise, the clearer your path becomes, and with that clarity you can start to build the life. If you've always dreamed of one that is true to who you are, not to who the world wants you to be, your journey is personal, and the moment you decide to take back control, you begin to step into your power. The world may continue to scream, but you'll be too busy listening to your own voice, and that's where the real strength lies. Most people move through life without ever realizing the immense power they hold within themselves. Instead, they're pulled along by the tides of external demands and expectations, constantly reacting to what the world throws at them. It's almost as if their lives are being written by someone else. But here's the truth: you are the architect of your own reality. This isn't just some abstract idea or a feel-good mantra, it's a fundamental truth that holds the key to your freedom. The light if you are living right now is the result of choices you have made consciously or unconsciously. Every decision, no matter how small, contributes to the world you are creating for yourself. It's easy to get lost in the noise of other people's opinions. It's easy to fall into the trap of living for the approval of others, to base your decisions on what you think society expects of you, or to get caught up in patterns that you didn't choose. But when you realize that you have the power to control your thoughts, actions, and reactions, something shifts inside you. Stop being a passenger and start becoming the driver of your own life. This realization isn't about escaping responsibility, but embracing it fully. Self-ownership means taking responsibility for the way you spend your time, who you spend it with, and what you are. How to influence your mind. You are in charge of how you respond to everything from the smallest annoyances to the biggest challenges. The content you consume, the people you surround yourself with, and the way you prioritize your day are all choices that belong to you. Once you accept that, the noise of the world loses its grip on you and you begin to reclaim your focus. It's not easy. The world has a way of pulling you in every direction, tempting you to abandon your own priorities in favor of reacting to the needs of others. But when you take full ownership of your life, you stop letting the world dictate your course. Instead, you start choosing what truly matters to you. Realize that you don't have to be swept up in every trend, every conversation, or every expectation. You can choose where to invest your time and energy, and with that choice comes the power to change the direction of your life. Carl Jung once said, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." This is the core of self-ownership, understanding that your past does not define you, your circumstances, your failures, or your successes. None of them have to dictate who you are or where you're going. You have the power to decide what you want to create from this moment onward. The choices you make today shape the person you will become tomorrow, and the beauty of this is that you have full control over those choices. When you begin to take ownership, you stop waiting for things to happen to you. Stop blaming others or life or external forces for the way things are. You own your decisions. This ownership doesn't just apply to big life decisions either. It applies to the small everyday moments, the way you choose to react to stress, the time you spend scrolling on your phone, the way you handle conflict, or the way you speak to yourself when you mess up. The power lies in the small choices, the ones that over time compound into the life you're building. It's also about realizing that you don't need to seek permission to take charge of your life. Too many people spend their lives waiting for external validation, for someone to tell them it's okay to pursue their dream or to focus on their growth. But in reality, permission has already been granted. You don't need to wait for the world to give you the go-ahead. You already have everything you need within you. It's your life, your decision, your responsibility. The sooner you embrace that, the sooner you'll realize how much power you truly hold. This sense of ownership is liberating, but it's also deeply confronting. It requires honesty with yourself. You can no longer hide behind excuses or blame. If something isn't working in your life, it's not the fault of circumstances, other people, or fate. It's yours to change. This might sound like a heavy burden, but in reality, it's the path to true freedom, because the moment you take full responsibility for your life is the moment you realize you have the power to shape it however you choose. Self-ownership is not about perfection, it's about commitment. It's about deciding that no matter what happens, you are the one in control. You choose how you react, you choose how you grow, and you choose how you navigate the challenges that come your way. You no longer wait for life to show you the way. You take it into your own hands and make it your own. Once you start owning your choices, you begin to create a life that reflects your true values and desires. You stop living for the approval of others and start living for yourself. The people around you may not always understand this shift, but the ones who truly matter will. They'll see the confidence and clarity that comes from someone who is fully in control of their life. It's a daily practice, this self-ownership. It requires constant reflection and effort, but over time it becomes easier the more you align your actions with your values. The more natural it becomes to take ownership of every aspect of your life, eventually it becomes second nature. You don't have to think about it, just as your life becomes a reflection of the choices you make, and those choices become more deliberate and aligned with your true self. By taking ownership of your life, you also create space for growth. When you stop blaming and start acting, you free up mental and emotional energy. You're no longer stuck in a loop of frustration or indecision. Instead, you're moving forward, even if it's just one small step at a time, and as you continue to make those steps, you'll notice something incredible happening. Your life begins to shift. You become the person you've always wanted to be, the person you've always been capable of becoming. In the end, self-ownership is about taking responsibility for yourself, not just in theory but in every single action. It's about taking full control of your life, your choices, and your direction. The moment you realize that you are the architect of your own reality is the moment you step into your true power. Your journey is personal, and the moment you realize that your future is in your hands, you become unstoppable. You are no longer a passive observer of your life, you are the creator, and that's where your true growth begins. We live in a world that's obsessed with connection. It's almost as if we're expected to be plugged in all the time, to be accessible at every moment, to keep up with the constant stream of updates, comments, likes, and opinions. Everywhere you look, someone is vying for your attention, offering their take on the world or telling you what's trending. It feels like the world is moving faster every day, and you're expected to keep up or risk being left behind. But in the midst of all this connection, something quietly slips away. It's easy to forget that the more we connect with everything and everyone around us, the more we disconnect from the most important person in our lives, ourselves. The pressure to stay plugged in can be overwhelming. Social media, news, the opinions of others, it's all designed to pull you outward, to distract you, to keep you chasing after fleeting moments of validation or information. We become so consumed by the need to stay in the loop that we lose the ability to simply be. The noise becomes so constant, so all-encompassing, that we forget how to listen to ourselves. It's no wonder we find ourselves burned out, exhausted, and overwhelmed. By the end of each day, we're constantly reacting to the world around us, but rarely do we stop and ask, what do I actually need? What would happen if we detached, if we just stepped away from all the noise and created a little space for ourselves? Real growth doesn't happen in the midst of chaos, it happens in silence. When you begin to detach from the external world, you make space for something truly powerful to happen. Clarity, as Carl Jung wisely said, who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. Detaching from the noise around you allows you to reconnect with your inner self, to wake up to what's truly important. In that silence, you begin to hear your own thoughts clearly. You can finally process the things that have been clouded by external distractions, and you can notice patterns, triggers, and distractions you were once blind to. You become aware of the subtle ways you've been influenced by everything and everyone around you, and that awareness is the first step toward true self-mastery. When you detach, you're not shutting yourself off from the world, you're simply choosing not to let the world dictate your every move. It's a subtle shift, but a powerful one. By creating boundaries, you start to prioritize your own thoughts, your own feelings, and your own needs. This doesn't mean ignoring the world or disconnecting from relationships, it means giving yourself permission to step back and breathe, to let go of the constant pull of outside influence and find your own center. The more you step away, the more you realize that true strength comes from within, not from external validation. It's amazing how much clarity you gain when you simply stop, when you remove the distractions. Whether it's scrolling through social media, answering every text, or getting swept up in the latest news cycle, you create space for your own thoughts to emerge. Suddenly you can hear your own voice more clearly, and you begin to see things from a new perspective. The patterns of behavior you once accepted as normal become more visible. You start to recognize the things that drain your energy, the people who pull you away from your focus, and the habits that no longer serve you. In that quiet, you find the room to grow. The problem is detaching can feel uncomfortable at first. We're so used to being connected, to being constantly on, that the idea of stepping away from all the noise can feel like a loss, but in reality it's the exact opposite. Detaching doesn't mean you're giving up on the world, it means you're taking control of your relationship with it. It's about choosing where to direct your energy and attention. When you let go of the need to react to every external stimulus, you start to reclaim the power to decide what matters to you, and you stop letting the world dictate your priorities. This is where real growth happens. It's not in the moment-to-moment reactions to the world around you, but in the stillness where you're able to reflect, to pause, and to decide what you want to bring into your life. It's in those quiet moments when you can hear your own voice and reconnect with your deepest values. The more you detach, the more you strengthen your ability to focus on what truly matters, and as you do, you'll find that your actions become more intentional, your decisions more aligned with your values, and your life more grounded in purpose. The world will always try to pull you in different directions, But you have the power to choose which direction you go. Detaching from the noise is not about rejecting the world, it's about rejecting the parts of the world that don't serve you. It's about cutting through the distractions and creating space for what truly matters: your own growth, your own clarity, your own purpose. When you take the time to step back, you begin to realize just how much of your energy was being spent on things that didn't align with your true self, and once that realization hits you, can begin to shift your focus toward what truly contributes to your growth. We all have moments when we feel lost in the noise, when we're overwhelmed by the opinions of others or by the constant stream of information coming our way, but those moments don't have to define us. By intentionally detaching from the external world, we can reclaim control over our own lives. We can start listening to our inner voice, trusting our own instincts, and growing into the person we're meant to be. The more we detach, the more we allow ourselves to awaken to our true potential, and in that awakening we find the clarity and focus needed to build a life that is truly our own. In a world that's constantly bombarding us with distractions, it's easy to forget that the answers we seek often don't lie out there, they lie within the noise outside. Whether it's the latest trends, the opinions of others, or the endless stream of information, only serves to cloud our vision and pull us in countless directions. But when you create space by rejecting this external noise, something incredible happens. You begin to hear your own thoughts clearly. You reconnect with the deepest parts of yourself, the parts that have been drowned out by the constant chatter, and in that space, you'll find something essential. Clarity isn't something you can buy, chase, or simply stumble upon. It's something that emerges when you intentionally decide to turn inward. Once you create that space by stepping away from the distractions, by refusing to be swayed by the demands of the outside world, your mind starts to clear. This clarity is the foundation of growth. It's the sharpness you need to make deliberate decisions, the ability to see your goals and aspirations with a newfound focus. You stop reacting to everything around you, and instead you begin to respond from a place of intentionality. The more you center yourself, the more the fog lifts and you begin to see your path clearly. It's not easy to detach from the world. The constant pressure to stay plugged in, to keep up with every update and every opinion, can be overwhelming. But once you reclaim your focus, you realize that the world doesn't need to slow down for you to make progress. You don't need the noise to stop in order to think clearly. The world will keep spinning and life will keep throwing its challenges your way, but in those moments when you choose to turn inward, you are taking back control. The strength lies in your ability to center yourself, to choose what truly matters, and to align your actions with your deepest values. Clarity isn't just about knowing what you want, it's about knowing who you are, and when you start making decisions from that place of self-awareness, everything else becomes easier. You stop second guessing yourself, you stop chasing external validation because you no longer need it. Your decisions become more deliberate, more aligned with your values, and less influenced by the passing of opinions of others. The distractions that once felt so overwhelming begin to lose their grip on you. Start to realize that the more you focus on your own growth, the less you need to react to what's happening around you. The key to cultivating this clarity is focus. It's about creating the mental space necessary to tune out the noise and tune into your own thoughts. This doesn't happen overnight. It takes practice, commitment, and the willingness to put yourself first. But once you begin to clear away the distractions, you'll notice how much sharper your mind becomes. You'll see things more clearly, your goals, your relationships, your purpose. Everything aligns when you're able to tune out the unnecessary and tune into what truly matters. The more you make space for this clarity, the more deliberate your actions become. Life doesn't need to slow down for you to find clarity. It's up to you to create that space. And when you start to center yourself, to turn inward and reclaim your focus, you realize that the noise around you doesn't have to dictate your peace. You can still engage with the world, but you do so from a place of inner calm, not reaction. The world will continue to move at its frantic pace, but you don't have to follow it. By turning inward, you begin to chart your own course, free from the pull of external pressures. This shift is profound because it allows you to make decisions that are in alignment with your true self. When you're constantly reacting to what's happening around you, give away your power. But when you reclaim your focus, when you center yourself, your decisions become more grounded. You start to act from a place of confidence and clarity, no longer swayed by temporary distractions or the shifting winds of other people's opinions. In a world that rewards noise, silence becomes your strength. In that silence you find the clarity you need to make intentional choices. It's in those quiet moments, when you stop chasing everything that's pulling at you, that you realize what truly matters. The more you cultivate this stillness, the more purposeful your actions become, and with every liberate choice you create a life that is more aligned with who you are and who you want to become. So ask yourself, What would your life look like if you weren't constantly reacting to the world around you? Imagine the clarity that could emerge if you took just a few moments every day to center yourself, to detach from the noise and to reconnect with your own truth. The more you do this, the sharper your focus will become, and with that clarity you'll find that making deliberate decisions becomes easier, more natural and more powerful. You will no longer be swayed by the distractions of the world. You'll be rooted in your own purpose, and from that place you'll make the choices that move you toward the life you've always wanted. Attention is the most valuable currency you have in a world constantly fighting for your focus. It's easy to forget just how precious it is. We're conditioned to believe that we need to be everywhere at once, to know everything that's happening and to keep up with the latest trends, but in truth, every time you divert your attention to something that doesn't serve your growth, you're depleting your potential. The world wants you to be scattered, to consume everything it throws at you. But what if I told you that this constant chasing after distractions isn't power, it's fragmentation? It's the opposite of mastery. Doesn't come from knowing everything or being everywhere. It comes from the ability to channel your attention where it truly matters. Carl Jung once said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. In this context, that means directing your focus inward and choosing what deserves your energy. It's about prioritizing your growth over the noise of the world. Most people spend their lives reacting to everything around them, constantly pulled in different directions. They end up tired, overwhelmed and unfocused, but all that energy, all that attention could be used to create something powerful if only it were invested in the right places. When you master the battle of attention, you reclaim your power. This isn't just about saying no to distractions, it's about saying yes to the things that will move you closer to who you want to be. The more you allow yourself to be distracted by irrelevant things, the more your life becomes fragmented. You stop moving toward a clear goal and instead you're scattered in a million different directions. The real power lies in being able to focus on what truly matters, but that requires intentionality. It means deciding consciously where to place your energy. It's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of information, especially with social media, the news cycle and the endless list of things to do. Everyone's telling you what you should be focusing on, but in reality the most important thing is deciding for yourself. Ask yourself, what truly deserves your attention? What will move you forward? When you start to focus on these things, you begin to invest your energy where it counts, and that's where growth happens. The key here is eliminating the unnecessary. The distractions aren't always big, obvious things. They can be small moments that add up over time. Scrolling through your phone, checking emails unnecessarily, engaging in pointless conversations. All of these things steal your attention. When you cut out these excess activities, you free up time and mental energy that can be better spent. Every minute you save from these distractions is a minute you can put towards your personal development, your goals and your dreams. When you reclaim your attention, your life becomes more intentional, your decisions become more deliberate, you begin to see the world through a clearer lens, and with that clarity you can take actions that align with your values and vision. But that clarity comes only when you stop allowing the noise to drown out your purpose. It's not about eliminating every distraction, it's about learning to filter out what doesn't serve you so you can focus on what does. The more you practice controlling your attention, the easier it becomes to stay focused on your growth. You learn to say no to the things that don't contribute to your goals, and in doing so you create space for the things that really matter, your relationships, your health, your career. All of these things improve when you direct your energy in a more focused, intentional way. The ability to focus is one of the most powerful skills you can develop, because when you focus on what truly matters, you create the life you want. In this battle for attention, you are the one who gets to decide where to place your focus. The world will always try to pull you in different directions, but the choice is yours. You don't have to be everywhere or know everything, you just need to know what matters most to you. The more you concentrate on that, the more your life becomes aligned with your deepest values. You stop chasing distractions and start creating the life you've always wanted, one focused decision at a time. Mastering your attention is not a one-time achievement, it's a daily practice. Every day you have the opportunity to choose where to direct your focus. The more you practice, the more it becomes second nature. Eventually the distractions won't have the same pull on you. You'll be able to navigate the noise of the world without getting lost in it. You'll become more resilient, more purposeful and more in control of your life, and in doing so you'll discover that the real power doesn't lie in what you know or how much you do, it lies in the ability to focus on what does most without being distracted by the rest. So take a step back, reflect on where your energy is going. Is it being wasted on distractions, or is it being invested in something that truly moves you forward? If you want to grow, if you want to achieve your goals, start by mastering the battle of attention. Your potential is waiting, but it can only be realized when you direct your focus toward it. Every moment you spend focusing on what matters is a moment spent building the life you truly desire. Focus isn't just about what you do, it's about what you don't do in a world that constantly demands your attention. The true art of focus lies in your ability to resist the pull of distractions. It's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of activity, social media, notifications, emails, messages, and 100 other things pulling you in different directions. But the disciplined individual knows that real power lies not in reacting to every stimulus but in choosing where to place their energy. They understand that every moment of focus requires restraint. Resisting distractions doesn't mean avoiding life, it means making deliberate choices about how you spend your time and energy. It's about creating space for what truly matters and letting go of the things that don't. When you practice focused discipline, you learn to ignore the noise. The world is full of shiny objects, new opportunities, trends, and ideas that can easily derail you from your path. But the disciplined person doesn't chase after every new thing. Instead, they cultivate an unshakable internal foundation that allows them to move through life with purpose, direction, and clarity. They aren't swayed by every new distraction. They remain rooted in their own values and goals, moving forward with intention no matter how loud the world gets. This type of focus is not a quick fix, and it's not something. Thank you for being a part of the Stoic Thoughts community. Together, we are forging a path toward true freedom and clarity. Like, subscribe to the Stoic Thoughts channel.